So I find with today's lifestyle, everything is quite hectic. We're always busy running from here to there, and we really want to try in our interior design spaces to incorporate things that make us feel good, but not just feel good, in theory, but actually have some substance behind why this is actually good for us. And we call this Biophilic design, and today I'm going into why it's good for you, how to incorporate it, all the things. So, when we're thinking about implementing biophilic design into the space, we really do know, and it's been proven, that it's really good for our health. So, from a physical standpoint, from our physical health, how does incorporating this into our lives help us? So, houseplants improve indoor air quality by absorbing mold spores, pollutants, and toxins. They humidify the air, reducing our vulnerability to allergens and respiratory pathogens, as well as having a calming effect on us and lowering our blood pressure. From a mental health standpoint, we get benefits because it reduces our stress levels. It generally puts us in a more peaceful state, and it promotes faster recovery, good mood, and overall well-being. What's also very interesting is that biophilic design brought into a space will also increase productivity. Natural light regulates sleep and boosts energy levels, performance, and productivity. Integrating these principles of biophilia in your space will really improve your creativity, your memory, and your learning abilities. Now, I'm not just saying this has actually been studied. This is like legit stuff, which I just find super, super interesting about biophilia in general. It's just like there's so many benefits to us on so many different levels. So what's really interesting about the biophilic trend is we're seeing it really incorporated into the architectural design of spaces as well. This is a really important factor when new spaces are being built or existing spaces are being renovated. And we're seeing a lot more of these designs really being focused on human health and well-being by incorporating nature into the interior so that people can feel really connected to it. So biophilic architecture really does focus on creating direct and indirect connection with nature. So they'll use things like plants, trees, water, fresh air, natural materials, colors, textures, all of those things to really help make an environment feel better for the humans that are in that environment, whether it's residential or commercial. So what's really interesting when we're thinking about offices and incorporating biophilic design in an office space, a lot of times people just think it has to do with plants. Now, plants are very important for this type of design concept, but there's other factors that go into biophilic design. So some of those factors that we need to consider are wall decoration, how ceilings are done, natural light, the materials, plants, of course, water, and all the elements that we see in nature. Its main task is really to increase productivity and the creativity of employees. Yes, you heard me right. There's a lot of research around how biophilia in the workplace actually will increase the creativity from 8 to 15%, which is really quite fascinating. So it's really interesting because some of the big giants like Amazon and Google are actually really looking at incorporating these biophilic office trends into their own corporate offices. So Amazon, for example, has equipped greenhouses into their offices. Google has experimented with skylights to bring in more natural light, and of course, an abundance of plants throughout the workspace. So when you're thinking about your own space, how can we bring some biophilia into your life to get all of the good benefits from it? So when we're thinking about designing your space, we really want to think about incorporating as much natural light as possible. Natural light is so good for us. We really do thrive when we have a lot more natural light. So some ways that you can achieve this is by adding in skylights, or if you already have them, of course, that's great. Having big giant windows in your space, or if you don't have the ability to do that, just try to open up those windows and allow as much light through them as possible. Another big feature that you can bring into your space is bringing in mirrors. Mirrors will help reflect light around a space. So one of the ways that you can really help with biophilic design and help with that natural light concept is actually bringing in large mirrors that will help play with the light and bring it throughout the space in a more cohesive way. Natural materials. Natural materials are such a big one when it comes to biophilic design. So often we think of the plants, but we also want to think of natural materials. So think of things like wood, stone, cork, marbles, wool, cottons, leathers, silks. These are all finishes that we use throughout our interior spaces that will really help bring a connection with nature. These are all good for us. They all make us feel good. So it's really interesting to see how it's not just the typical plant, but it does run into other things like the finishes that you choose throughout your space. Another way to incorporate biophilic design into your home is to include natural shapes and organic lines. In a biophilic home, from a design standpoint, you really do want to avoid like super harsh lines and just really strong angles. You really do want to replace that with curves and smooth transitions. For example, oval sinks or curved bathtubs will look really organic. Also allowing, shapes that represent more natural lines. So like curved sofas, we've been seeing a big trend on. Even having like those natural like wood kind of coffee tables and just a lot of things that are more true to their natural form versus a more manufactured form. Another big part of biophilic design is bringing in colors from nature, so being inspired from nature. So kind of opposite of what we've talked about in some design styles like the Memphis design style, this is really bringing in more of a neutral and natural tones combined with colors like blues and greens and yellows. Very, very much of a natural feel, which we're seeing a ton of in interiors right now. So obviously, although I've said, it's about plants, but that's not the only thing, which is totally true. The abundance of plants is a big one when it comes to biophilic design. We can never forget about that. I think that's my favorite part about biophilic design is adding in plants. I love plants. And one of the things that I absolutely love to incorporate into a space, whether it's residential or it's commercial, is a living wall. Now you can do a living wall or just a green wall. Both will have benefits for you. Obviously, a living wall, you get a lot of the, clean, fresh air, toxins removed, all that kind of stuff. We do see them a lot in corporate spaces, but there's a little bit of maintenance to a living wall. The other option is to do something like a preserved moss wall. It requires no maintenance, but has that green component. It just is beautiful. It's organic, and we do get a lot of benefit from that visually, although it doesn't clean the air, but it's still a great thing. And then potted plants, bring in the plants, bring in, easy plants like snake plants. Those ones are really hard to kill. I have managed to kill one before, but they're hard to kill. I overwatered him, whatever, it happens. But bringing in plants, whatever you love, adore, enjoy, even if it's something easy like, a cactus, it's still a plant and it will serve you well. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video diving into biophilia. I just wanted to touch on this one. It's been a while since I've talked about it, and I really feel like we're seeing so much of it right now. So if you enjoyed learning all about biophilia, definitely hit the thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you liked this video, YouTube seems to think you'll like this one next. All right, guys, until next time, bye.